In a discussion with Roman Catholic apologists Gary Michuta, William Albrecht, and Dr. David Saras, recent convert to Roman Catholicism Cameron Bertuzzi from Capturing Christianity asked them point blank, is there no one talking about Jerome widening his canon late in life? The context is they are responding to a video presented by Dr. Gavin Ortlund from Truth Unites, who was addressing the fact that this contemporary belief that the Deuterocanonical books found in Roman Catholic Bibles were accepted by Jerome as canonical scripture later in his life, but it is not written about by Christians throughout the church age, including up to the Reformation and even beyond. Notice immediately after Cameron asked them this question, there is nothing but dead air for several seconds, followed by Gary finally breaking the silence, conceding that it is, quote, generally thought that Jerome does not change his mind, end quote, despite Gary admitting they, meaning Gary, William, and David, are, quote, arguing to the contrary.
Nobody is talking about him widening his view of the canon late in life or something like that. But even the...
Is that true? Does no one talk about him widening his canon?
Well, yeah,
ahead,
I mean, generally it's thought that Jerome doesn't change his mind, but actually we argue to the contrary. So I think probably in scholarly circles, I don't know.
Yep.
After Gary's uncertainty if there is anyone throughout church history who claimed Jerome changed his mind after reading his later writings on the canon, Dr. Saras jumps in and mentions one scholar named A.E. Breen.
Certainly one, A.E. Breen. He did believe that Jerome cited...
Who was this?
A.E. Breen is a scholar. He wrote, it's called The General Introduction to the Old Testament, I believe. This will be cited in my slides. And he says that from one of the later quotes from Jerome, that where he cites Sirach as divine scripture, Breen actually argues that Jerome, he believes that Sirach is in fact inspired scripture.
In the comment section below Cameron's video, Dr. Saros also mentions a second scholar named Skian who also believed Jerome changed his mind. But what Dr. Saros doesn't mention, either in his response in the video nor in the comment section, is that Breen is writing in the 20th century, while Skian is writing in the 21st century, which is rather late scholarship, which neither Dr. Saros nor his Roman Catholic contemporaries would allow for if this sort of scholarship was presented by Protestants to support Jerome not changing his mind, since it is over a millennia and a half after the time of Jerome. Plus, the context of Dr. Ortlund's comment and Cameron's question wasn't merely limited to modern-day scholars, but the fact that those from the time of Jerome all the way up to the Reformation and even beyond who read the same later writings of Jerome that Breen and Sheehan did centuries later, but not come to the same conclusion that Jerome changed his mind on the Deuterocanon despite reading these same later writings of Jerome. So how did so many people throughout over 1,500 years of church history reading and commenting on Jerome's later writings on the canon not comment that Jerome changed his mind on the Deuterocanon until the 20th century? How did they all miss this and nobody mentioned this? Unless Jerome didn't change his mind and continued to reject the Deuterocanon his entire life, but rather these modern-day scholars and Roman Catholic apologists are misunderstanding what Jerome wrote, since they are fallible and capable of error, which would explain their contemporary and minority of view of Jerome on the canon. It would also explain the dead air experienced after Cameron's question.
Nobody is talking about him widening his view of the canon late in life or something like that. But even the...
Is that true? Does no one talk about him widening his canon?